Welcome to the Golden Grail, the rise of the Magdalene witches, summer solstice, soul gathering. Our chalice for the voice of the Magdalenes to be shared. Because we made a pact to return, and with the wisdom teachings intact, now we share them. And I'm your creator and host, Eimear Stassin, and I hope you enjoy each and every one of these unique, soulful conversations. Now let's dive in. Welcome everyone to the Golden Grail, the rise of the Magdalene witches, global online summit, where crystal emerald hearts merge with golden resonance, resurrecting our divine spark within us and out with as we ascend into new earth consciousness. This summit is a sacred act of remembrance to reclaim all that was stolen and locked in golden tabernacle, our bread, our blood, our wisdom and gnosis. These golden Magdalene codes, rebalancing the scales back to harmonious equilibrium, whilst resting back into our earth called 5D Thara. Calling all Magdalene mystics, sorcerers, witches, great weavers of golden Christos light, gather your golden threads to spin our collective webs, for we are weaving ourselves anew. And we made a pact with teachings intact. Collectively, we rise to complete our Golden Grail promise. And I'm your host, Eimear Stassin, and I'm really delighted to welcome today's expert speaker, Aletheia. Now, I hope I've pronounced your name right.
Absolutely, my lady, and let me tilt my hat to you for that gorgeous living word intro.
Thank you. Thank you. And you know, part of that, because when we spoke in our last summit, I think I may have mentioned to you afterwards, as you were speaking, you said the word resurrection, and the fire behind you had gone out, but this one spark emerged. And that's where that divine spark, like that was it, the resurrection, the divine spark came through for me. So thank you for this co-creation.
Welcome.
So would you like to share a few words about who you are at this moment in time?
Yes, well, in this moment, well, for a couple of months now, I have been moving energetically, emotionally, spiritually, from Eimear to Aletheia, and the other two names, Pistis, Sophia. So now I'm fully in. I've been absolutely grabbed by the ancient Greek language because all three words are coming from that place. It's all one and the same family, as we all probably know, but Aletheia means unforgotten truth. In the Bible, Jesus would say, "Verily I say unto you." But if we were reading that in ancient Greek, it would be Aletheia something, something, something. So it means an unforgotten truth. Pistis, ancient Greek for faith, and Sophia, ancient Greek for wisdom. And for me, this name captures my final act. I'm going into my elderhood now, and when I say Aletheia, I feel comfortable. I'm in my comfortable armchair. When I say Eimear, I feel like I'm still full of flame and out there using my Shakti to ignite and awaken. Whereas Aletheia wants to sit back in her chair a little bit more and just commit to the living word.
That's so beautiful. And I can feel that. I almost want to just lounge out in that armchair behind you and just
Yeah.
soak up your words. That's gorgeous, gorgeous. Yeah, the unforgotten truth.
Yes, and it's so tied in with the woman's journey.
Mm.
and being graceful and gracious about the aging process, um, and just letting it happen and letting yourself be changed by it. Keeping your spark, obviously, you can probably see I still have my eternal child floating around in my psyche. I'm not sure that's ever going to age, but I myself, as a woman, as a human, I must age. I must take that chair and contemplate and reflect on the life. And especially if someone's in front of me, asking a few questions.
Yeah. Wow. And this, the unforgotten truth, the faith and the wisdom. Oh my goodness. My goodness. So what significance does the unforgotten truth have in you claiming your name?
Well, it's forever changing, as you can imagine. My entire being at the moment is really with an old Gnostic called Valentinus. He was around in the Library of Alexandria. Very, very popular man. Would give profound sermons, often, possibly giving the Eucharist with a little bit of a added ingredient inside of it. And the people would just go there. And where are they going? Well, they were going to that transcendent mother, father, that realm, that pleroma. And so where I am at the moment is working on coming into contact with everything within me that says you must not speak as he did. You must not give sermons as he did. And my inner spirit is saying, yes, you must. And this is, as your opening words, we must remember our Golden Grail quest. Well, I believe one of my promises is to not forget those ancient ways of bringing the entire congregation to the lap of the living, loving, comforting Godhead in its masculine and feminine principles. And there are ways, and they are innocent, and they are benign, and they are our birthright. But as a woman, a little bit afraid to really take that torch and say, okay, folks, we're going there. Because, we've been told for thousands of years, that's what the men do. They're the ones that got the permission to take you to the transcendent God. Yeah, so there's a lot going on the inside as I find the gears in my voice and know how to shift gear and keep that voice clear and not trembling.
Yeah.
And that's Aletheia. That's the unforgotten truth.
That's so beautiful. So beautiful. And I'm loving the host, the Eucharist infused with a little extra magic.
Yes.
And traditionally it would have been the nuns it would have been the females, the feminine lineage that made the bread, made the host.
A great book at the moment. I think it's called The Hidden Key. I bought it for Pete. He's devouring it at the moment. And some fantastic research has gone into how it was only women in the past who prepared the Eucharist. And it took time. The wine took time. The bread took time. There were, it seems, added native and natural ingredients to help us along with that ecstatic state, to throw off the shackles of our limited, gloomy and doomy sense of human self and enter the rapture and just come to that place, not as an induced mass hypnosis, but a lifting of the veil.
Yes. Yeah, I really feel that. And the other aspect of you saying, well, in my words, of bringing people with us,
Yes,
taking people along with us, as
yes,
opposed to preaching from the pulpit.
yes,
As you
yes,
say, we still can elicit
yes,
and share the sermons, but it's
yes.
come with us on this journey.
It's like that Magdalene, the mystique of the Magdalene Oracle deck that me and you have. In all those little golden nuggets, there's quite a few times where she mentions the return of the feminine will bring all of humanity and nature with her. She's not interested in a personal ascent. She's not even interested. By design, she brings about the collective ascent. And I guess for us women, it's remembering that that same design is within us. We're not really too fussed about our personal ascension. It's interesting, we want it, we long for it, but in our womanly heart and womb, we're going to cast an eye left and right to make sure that everyone else is coming too. It's just natural. That's the design.
Yeah, yeah. And it brings up community for me, this a vitalness of community
Yes,
on this journey, that we really do need and support each other.
absolutely. Absolutely. And letting that love flow and letting that minding one another. That's a good one. The Irish are good at that. um, to really keep an eye out for our nearest and dearest. When we know what they aspire to, and finding that again, that voice, that language that just shines just a little bit of light, giving them a little extra light so they can reflect on their actions, on their decisions, on their way, and just realize, yeah, slightly off there. Thank you, my friend. Rather than, how dare you?
Yeah,
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 minding one another. I love that. I think that's a lovely level or layer of friendship, to mind one another.
yeah. And we can do that in such subtle, kind ways.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
And Valentinus, is there anything else about Valentinus and Alexandria?
Well, Valentinus, this is where I have a funny old feeling. There's only two senses of a past life I have, and they're very subtle. It's not as if they're big fanfares, but one of them is a sense that I was at the Library of Alexandria and that I had a scholarship and I was given this great privilege to learn, and I learned under him. So he was my mentor. And that's it. It's that subtle. But when I go back to him now, and I've always got my head in a Gnostic book, I would say Valentinus is the one with the obvious heart. His writing, his sermon, the stories of him is a man blazing with that Christed heart. And so he's the one. He's the one I'm re-following. Um, yeah, that's all I can really say about him. He was like a master teacher, a master philosopher at the time of the Great Library.
And what do you feel then? Is there a connection, or what kind of relationship would there have been between Valentinus and then the Magdalens?
I feel they're all one and the same. It's one big long lineage. I call it the sons and daughters of the hidden light. um, they have this innate, born into Aletheia, unforgetting truth. And they are trailblazers. They very quickly raise their head above the pulpit. They seem to remember their mission and seem to have the commitment, the discipline to get on with it and just keep a little eye on those three qualities of the opposing force: doubt, confusion, disruption. There's the three aces that can come our way as we take perhaps our more longer journey, whereas these young'uns, they just got to it. You know, as soon as life was streaming through their body, they're on. You know, they're on the stage, they're doing their thing. Yeah, and again, that's a very clear Gnostic understanding that there is a race on the planet, always has been, always is, always will be, who are aware of the hidden light. Not hidden as in covered up, but hidden from the world, but being consulted. Never, never do the confusion, doubt, or disruption blur the light that they know they are. Whereas perhaps me and you and some of us listening on the call, we can have days where we are convinced we've been cut off, we're in exile, we never had any light in the first place. These guys, they may have had a moment, but mostly they knew their quest and they lived by it.
That's so beautiful. I can really feel that. And it wasn't like there was no danger in those times.
There's always a danger.
Was.
Yes, yeah. Yes. Always in balance, really. You know, at the end of the day, that's where the Gnostic lands. There is always, in every moment, every situation, every being, always equal measure of light and dark. And that's what gives us our energy. That is the evolution. But it's also more the potential. So let's just say in a person, so let's imagine you're having an incredible light moment. And you might say to yourself, there's no way I have equal measure of darkness within me now. And the Gnostic would say, no, that is quite true. But the potential to be equally as dark as you are light in this moment walks with you, my friend. And that is something to be, again, tilting the hat, just respectful of. And on occasion, when I do let that darkness get the better of me, I can see, holy moly, my reach of really going there is huge. So, gulp. Yeah. But I find deep comfort and deep compassion in the Gnostic tradition, because they will look and go, yeah, that is quite true, my dear aspirant. As you rise in light, you deepen in darkness. The potential. Yeah. And I guess that keeps me on the straight and narrow. Yeah.
And I feel like then when our light is so strong, and you speak of the blazing Christed heart.
Wow.
Yeah. And when our light is developing that, or remembering the brightest of our light, so that we can, if need be, go to the depths of the dungeons of the darkness to heal, if that's what we need to do, or transmute that.
Absolutely. And in those divine depths, and yes, I am using the word divine depths, so we can go down into the abyss, and it is the dark night, and it is full of all those three: confusion, doubt, and disruption. Of course it is. But eventually, down there in that quagmire is also the divine. And you could say it's the divine showing you perhaps a more secret face, a more hidden face. and that this act of showing you the velocity of the quagmire is in fact an act of vulnerability. So it's like, whoa, this reframes everything. So these are not monsters and demons playing their three aces. No, perhaps not. Perhaps not. And then we change. Our relationship changes to that journey, that downward spiral. And then perhaps the quality of that which is down in the downward spiral changes too. I was listening on the news today. This is a real, let's change subjects. So there was a scientist on the news. She has recently written a book with the question, are there rainbows in space? And you know, those little awkward questions when your child says, Mummy, why is the sky blue? And we go, I do know. Basically, she said this is going to blow our minds. If someone was making red fabric in a black factory, a dark factory, it wouldn't be red. It's something to do with our eyes and the light coming through our eyes that determines it's red.
Wow.
Yeah, so going back to that downward spiral, it could be us who's saying this place is awful, full of torture, full of pain. And the divine depths is saying, no, it's not. If only you could see it differently or interpret it differently. Basically, this scientist is saying, this red fabric you're making in the dark factory is dark. It's only you guys who are saying it's red. Your eyes, the witnessing of this mysterious fabric is what determines its color. Wow. I know we've heard this all before, but it's so exciting to hear it again, especially when she's talking to children. She's explaining this on like the news, morning news telly. And I'm like, wow. And of course, the sky's not really blue. She was saying it's particles of light reflecting off the sun. It's not really blue. It's black, it's dark. But to us, it's blue. Oh, man, this questioning can go on and on into great places.
It just changes everything we've been taught and to know to be true.
Yeah.
That really isn't true.
Yeah. So, you know, those three, I want to come back to those three aces. Doubt, confusion, disruption. We would say, uh-oh, the opposing force is here. Buckle up, everybody. Buckle up, Dorothy. We're about to go to Kansas. But if we just slam the brakes on a minute and go, hang on, okay, I'm aware of what's here. I'm aware of the association I've made of these three qualities. But let me just hang around just a little bit longer and just cast more of my consciousness upon this. Would that mean that the opposing force is somehow made impotent in some way? Because we're not playing the game anymore. We're not saying you're red fabric and blue sky. Well, that's my plan. I'll let you know how that gets on, how I get on with that.
That's the key when you said, let's just hang around here
Yeah.
a bit longer. And I know often my reaction is, I'm out of here. Yeah. I do not want this doubt, confusion, disruption.
Yes.
I'm gonna run because that's what I know what to do.
Yeah.
I come back. What's the magic and the message of this here?
Yes. And
That's
that's Magdalene work. Because she hung around. She stayed in the eye of the storm. And she must have been confronted by the worst of the worst. But she didn't really seem to have a problem with that. It must have been a trial, tempestuous and everything we imagine it to be. But she seems to have grace and elegance, even when up against that opposing force. That's how I imagine Our Lady.
huge amounts of grace and elegance. And when I connect with that and all she must have gone through, and the Magdalenes, for me, it brings up a lot of grief.
Yeah.
Of, yeah, this woman, these people persecuted, as with many others, and chased and hunted down. And still, as you say, she hung around, they hung around.
Yes, yes. I mean, where I'm sat right now, just over there, is Chateau de Montségur, the old Cathar stronghold, the old Cathar fortress, where they willingly, and some eyewitness accounts would say joyfully, entered the flames rather than convert to Catholic or Roman Catholic religion. You could say the Cathars were the spiritual descendants of Mary Magdalene. And from these, Inquisition notes of locals being questioned, what's going on up there? Who are these people? Who's in charge? Do you know anything about rituals? What are their prayers like? What about their books? What do they have? And to them, death was almost joyfully entered or come to terms with, because that's where their soul's heading anyway. And so death almost brings, like a jump start, a catapult further and closer towards where they wish to be. So yes, we're hunted and chased and persecuted. But then we go back to that Gnostic understanding that darkness is the greatest ally. Darkness is the one that propels you along the path. So it's all very paradoxical.
Ooh, there's so much going on within me right now. As I'm remembering, I was thinking, well, would I give my life up? And then I'm like, no, you have
Yes,
many times
yes,
to protect this
yes,
ancient gnosis. Because that's the importance, as you say, we come back
yes,
in these mortal fleshy bodies.
yes.
But it's the journey of the soul, as you were sharing.
And these aspirants would have had so much evidence, so much faith from their initiations, because the initiation is to bring through a sense of death, to bring through that ejector seat, and they're in the realm of the transcendent. They would have been doing this at least yearly, maybe 4 times a year, on the equinox, on the solstice. So they would have had solid proof of this ability of the spirit to ascend and come back to the body, to ascend and come back to the body. And so for me and you, we're like, woo, would I go there again? And still a sincere yes can float up, because we haven't had, maybe, the high-level initiations that they had often. So for them, they would have had more courage, I'm sure of it, more conviction, more gnosis, more knowing, because they do this journey so often.
So are you speaking of living resurrection?
Yes,
The
yes,
dying, ascending and coming back?
yes. And this is where my interest is. This is what I mean by the sermons, the congregation, the bravery, and the trust in myself and the trust in the divine, that we can piece back together these initiations and bring them to the people again en masse. And yet I, as a person, I don't go going around trying all these initiations. I mean, a lot of my friends do plant medicine. I've never done plasma. You would have thought I'd be the first one. Yes, please. Nope. Microdosing, no, not doing any of that. Didn't do any drug experimentation in my early days. So it's a little bit weird that I'm looking for this secret ingredient that brings about the transcendent initiation, and yet don't put myself under the experience. I got a feeling I'll know it when I see it, and then it'll be a yes. Yeah. And I want those who are preparing this initiation or ingredient, I need them to be of the lineage. I need to know their hands has put this together. And then I'm fully in without question.
Yeah. And then what is the importance then of this dying and resurrecting? Like, what difference does it make when we practice these crafts, rituals?
Well, perhaps it would bring some really solid stability to our being at this time, because I'm sure everyone knows now that we're in a time of great uncertainty, tremendous change. No one's got a sense of the timing of this. And without this ginormous knowing at the center of our being, we're going to be rocked from pillar to post. Or we can be like those Cathars up there, joyfully sat in their armchair, helping every single person get on the page so that we can surf our way elegantly and gracefully, like Our Lady, through this very obvious evolutionary historical shift. Otherwise, we're gonna be just scattered like leaves in the wind. And who knows where it's going? Who knows where this evolutionary purge is going? I just, like the Cathars, I just want everyone to know that there is an invisible hand on the rudder. The sail is up. We're going to get to our destination. And we can just lean back and trust the boat we're in. Because we've got some regular proof of there's something more than our solid. We've got some regular proof that red fabric in the dark factory is flipping dark. And that blue sky up there is just light fractals coming off the sun.
The dark and the light.
Yeah.
And the bread of life. My dog is over there and he's like making
Yip, yip.
noises as you're speaking. He's dreaming, he's absorbing.
Oh, bless him. Yeah.
Wow, that's so beautiful. And I'd also like to ask, because I know you were back in Ireland again recently.
Yes.
I've been seeing you on Facebook. And the Cailleach witch, and you went to Loch Crew.
Yes.
And as you were speaking of the sons and daughters of the hidden light and the Magdalenes and Cathars as trailblazers, I just wrote down the Cailleach and that downward spiral that you
Yeah.
were speaking of.
Yes.
Personally, for me, that's something I associate the Cailleach with. She brings me down in her cauldron, in her spiral, in her whirlpool,
Yes.
to teach me to like, come down here, get out of that light for a moment.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if you'd like to speak about anything, your experience walking the land, your ancestral lands of Ireland.
Yes, there was a bit of a huge moment actually when I was sat on the throne at Loch Crew. And when you sit there, you see all these very obviously placed hills all around Loch Crew. And I asked a friend, what can you say about the rest of these other hills dotted around here? And she said, yes, the Cailleach dropped stones from her apron and they formed all these hilltops. And I thought, hang on a minute, apron? Don't you mean womb? And you do often see pictures of the Cailleach with an apron, like someone in the kitchen. But what if that apron is the womb? She's actually dropping these stones from her womb. And if they're coming from the womb, then they're not really stones, but perhaps seeds of potential, essence of her own being. So if you get the chance to go to Loch Crew and you sit down on her hill, imagine that these have been plucked from her very essence. That was what I got sitting on that throne. Yeah. Yeah. And I totally agree. The downward journey, that's her grabbing you by the hair. Come on, my girl. It's time for another lesson. Yeah. Come sit on grandma's knee.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's her womb, and she scatters the rocks and creates
Yes.
and births the land through
Yes.
her.
Yes.
And she has this fierce love
Yeah.
to guide us and help wake us up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and her throne, which is what the witches have always been sharing with me, to step back up onto our throne, which is our birthright, our place of power, our seat of power, our royal seat of power.
Yes. Yes, and to maybe assume, I don't like the word leadership because it sounds so modern, to assume the role of the guiding star. And to put up our sail and to reach for, or maybe invite others who are lost and at peril and at sea, and to find that voice that soothes and settles, enlightens, and just proclaims when there's darkness around, there's darkness around. And to speak on behalf of the other and say, you cannot enter right about now. You've just been purged. Now stay out. Give this person a chance to recalibrate, empty of your influence for a moment, to just be that surrogate to mind, to use your voice to mind the purging, the cleansing, the truth that's just been spoken. And until that person is able to find their own voice to mind themselves. I'm really into voice at the moment, as you can probably tell.
Yeah, that's a key part, as you shared in the beginning of this, finding these ways of ancient and modern expression that no longer will be suppressed or repressed.
Yes.
Because these unforgotten truths are needed now.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, kind of as we come towards the end here, is there anything else you'd like to share specifically about the Magdalenes? Because I know you walk with them and have done for many, many years.
The only sense I get, thanks to this oracle deck, the Mystique of the Magdalene,
Yes.
it's to really raise the flag, so to speak, in union with the land, and to let all folk know that your refuge, your sanctuary, your shelter is here. And literally raise the flag. Let everyone know you and your safe space is here. A Magdalene is here. And thanks to your good work, connecting and uniting us all, we are here. The flag is raised. And that the Magdalene, this is my two penneth, the Magdalene is a person, but she's also a place. And her place is safe, and is a refuge, and is a sanctuary, and is a bed of healing, a hall of remembering. So it's not just a woman or a man you're going to go and see. It's a place. And she's inhabiting that place, and she's inviting you in. And that's what the flag means. If you've raised your flag, that's what you're saying. You know who you are. You know where you've come from. You know where you're going. And you are awake and ready for the day to come.
Ooh, raising the flag.
Yeah.
Which is what this summit is, and also the work you do and what you voice and share and put out there. And one of our other speakers speaks of the Magdalene molecule.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I said as well. She spoke of it, and it's
I don't know if you can see those hairs. They're all up.
and it's just what you said. It's how
Yes.
we raise the flag and recognize each other
Yes.
as Magdalenes, and here we are back
Yes.
again.
Remember you said, what is the name of your talk?
Yes.
Raising the flag. Raising the red flag. Red and gold. Yes.
Yes, red and gold.
Yes. Oh, hang on a
Hello.
second. Someone's coming up the stairs.
Just raising the flag, quick. That's so beautiful. Red and gold, which I see are the colors of this summit
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
And the oracle deck we're talking about too,
Yes, of
which
course.
I heard about through you.
Yeah. Which I heard about in Ireland.
Oh, really?
Someone came up to me with the little booklet at the back showing me the map of all the Joseph of Arimathea, Magdalene, and Sarah sites in Ireland and England. And I went, hang on a minute, back up a second. What are you showing me? And then, oh my God, I got to get this deck. And it's all the old Mary of the Sea churches. Wow, I missed that. This is new info. And there's so many in Ireland.
I read your Facebook post and immediately I purchased the deck.
Yes.
You also mentioned Dingle. Like there's
Yes.
Magdalene. Dingle is my soul home. Oh my goodness, I have to find out more. And
Yes, there's going to be a church there. Mary of the Sea.
tingles.
Yeah.
And it's like what I feel with with this, the unforgotten truth, it's always here. It's always been here.
Yeah.
Right under our noses.
Yeah.
But once we begin to see the red material as black or black as red,
Yes, yes.
then we see things in a new light, in a new.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, amazing, amazing.
Mm.
Are there any final words you'd like to share? I know you've got someone coming in to see. And you've got 2 baby goats as well to
2
tend
baby goats in a cot next door with mum.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
I think what I would love to share with you is just the rich and deep resonance I feel with you, dear sister and friend. The joy I have at just being in your radiance, you know, in your sphere, and the tremendous felt work that you are so clearly doing. And you, this oracle deck, myself, this is family. This is family. And we are Aletheia. We are the unforgotten truth. We're remembering. Verily I say unto you, I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. So heartfelt and received. And likewise, being in your presence, such a joy and an honor. And thank you for being here as part of this Golden Grail exploration with the beautiful, mysterious Magdalenas.
Yes, 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 yes.
Thank you so much for being here. And I'll have links on your speaker page of where people can find you. Is there anything you have coming up around June time and beyond? I know you always have stuff on offer.
It sort of seems every month I do at least 2 transmissions on the new and full moon, and they will be my own present day remembrances. I never, ever, ever, ever do anything twice. It's always once. So I'm certainly not regurgitating things I've ever spoken before. Never, ever. Always fresh and new in the moment. Yeah, so if you come to the site, you can sign up and you'll get those notifications of at least two things coming in per month.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And I hope one day to meet you in the south of France. Your home in Les Contes.
You will.
I'm coming. I'm coming. Or to meet you in Ireland as well.
Yes, exactly. I could come to you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so, so much for being here. And to everyone watching, we will see you again soon. Bye for now.